Spread your love and hear what I'm saying now. Spread your love and hear what I'm saying now. Spread your love.
Eleonora, welcome to Yachting USA. Welcome to Yachting USA here in Amsterdam.
Thank you, Rick.
What a delight to spend a few minutes with you. It's been wonderful getting to know you this week.
Thank you,
And
Rick.
here we are finally to sit down together and have this conversation.
And we don't have snow today, so it's
No
amazing,
snow today.
amazing Amsterdam weather, actually.
Yeah, we've seen sunshine, we've seen hail, we've seen rain and a lot of wind, and so it's in rainbows. So I think we've got most of the weather spectrum covered pretty adequately.
Exactly. Not like Florida, but it's okay.
No, ma'am. Yeah, we'll just leave it at that because I don't want to make people too jealous. But listen, this is fun. You're with Burgess Yachts.
Yes.
And I think it's important to be able to bring Burgess into the conversation in light of so many other European entities we've spoken to this week, and the importance in the role Burgess has played in the large yachting industry. But before we go to Burgess, let's talk about you. You're a multi-generational family in the marine industry from
Yes. My grandfather.
Yeah.
From Trieste.
Trieste. Thank you.
From
Thank
Trieste.
you. Yeah. I, as a kid, I remember the Trieste submarine that made some of the world record descents, and that was so cool. And that came from that part of Italy. So, yeah, tell us about your family.
Well, I'm nicknamed the Italian with the Austrian pinch. From the industry because I was born literally on the former Yugoslavian border, so on the Iron Curtain from Stettin to Trieste.
Wow,
So
yeah.
these were big years for the geopolitical situation over there. But these made me actually rise into a very cross-cultural context.
Sure it would.
And my grandfather worked in the Italian Navy. And my father, obviously, he didn't step into the Italian Navy, but he bought a little motorboat in the stretch of the Venice Lagoon. So,
oh, wow.
That was really cool. I have very, very good memories of my childhood, just boating with my parents in the beautiful Venice Lagoon. However, Trieste, just a few kilometers away, it's a huge land of sailors. So we got
You're in that part of the Mediterranean, that northeastern part of Italy, that's so beautiful up there, and the coastline going into Croatia, and it's just, that's a destination unto its own.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
we got the Barcolana in October. So for those that knows, the Barcolana is 1,700 boats, sailing boats that they just race randomly in the bay of
That must
Trieste.
look spectacular.
It's amazing.
That would be amazing. Wow.
Just there must be some wind, otherwise nobody moves and it's quite a mess.
Well, it's bumping into boats then, but no, that sounds phenomenal.
So yeah, that was my first approach, indirect approach, obviously, with boating and yachting and maritime industry. But after actually, it came much later on in my life. I graduated from the University of Trieste in International and Diplomatic Affairs. So as I said, cross cultures.
Yes, that's important.
I loved a lot of the languages, foreign languages. I wanted to be an ambassador and diplomat. And after, all of a sudden, there was a very interesting subject that was geostrategy. And that was stepping into military affairs. So I specialized into that.
Wow.
So it's quite something. And actually
eye-opening, I'm sure.
Amazing. It's really a parallel world. And like yachting, there are parallel worlds running across our lives.
Mm-hmm.
But after, I'm a very romantic person, Rick.
Good to
very
know.
romantic,
Love
very
it.
Italian.
Yeah, of course, that's the beauty of it, right?
And
They fell in love with a French guy.
exactly. Oh my God. So between, of course, the proposal of a PhD in geostrategy and working in Rome for my government, then no, actually, let's leave it all and let's come to the French Riviera. Ooh la la. So there we go.
There you go.
20 years later.
Uh-huh.
And actually, yeah, I was meant to get into this beautiful industry.
Isn't it a beautiful industry? It is. Yeah.
It is. It's fascinating. And actually, I think that I owe a big thank you for my first boss. My first boss was Lebanese origin and a very known broker in the French Riviera. I was selling a lot of open boats and speed boats. So he was very passionate of the product and he loved the new construction. So I was really initiated by him to this passion. And I really say, hey, actually, after all, a yacht is a beautiful product. And I always retain what he told me once. He said, Ellie, remember, a 30-meter yacht, 100-foot boat, is about 15,000 spares. And I was like, 15,000?
Yeah.
So it's handcraftsmanship.
Yes.
This is, this is beautiful. They are still...
The pieces of art.
Yeah.
Floating art, yeah.
And people that are shaping this. So that it's like Matt said today, these people are shaping the product. And,
That's so true.
And so I really fell in love with the product into that. And I had the opportunity after 6 years in brokerage, charter, and operations to step into the supply world. And the world of supplies is totally another world.
I grew up in that world, manufacturing and supplying new builds. And we touched briefly a few minutes ago that I came to delightfully understand you worked for my friend Ian for a while.
Yes, correct.
At Underwater Lights, and you had a little experience in the States.
Absolutely, yeah. So the company was based in Fort Lauderdale, and they needed their European antenna, of course, because Seavision is one of the leading companies in underwater lighting, and still is, and supplying very well. I know I'm doing a bit of advertising, but we had a beautiful...
I'll make you pay for that later.
Yeah, exactly. But it was an exceptional experience because obviously it opened me the gates to all the shipyards.
There you go.
And when you start knowing the shipyard from the basis and not from the top, because the sales people are top of the industry shape, but the suppliers are the backbone.
That's the foundation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is where I really got into the game. I really liked that. I could really met a lot of different people: technical manager, product managers, designers. Right. So it was a very complex world, and it was not only the pure and mere deal.
Right.
I have to sell your boat. I have to find a client. I have to build a boat. I have to supply a boat that is going to be a dream of a client.
Well, Ellie, I'd be so bold to say that if you go into the shipyard observing the fundamentals of how the boat's put together, if you're there working with the shipyard engineers and designers, if you're watching the frames coming together and you see the weldments and then you see the way the piping is done, how these bits and pieces come together to become part of this working, amazing machine that becomes this vessel, when you turn around years later to talk to a potential owner and you start talking about what makes a boat a good boat or what makes a boat special or what to look for, what to pay attention to, what not to pay attention to, whatever that is, it brings you some authority in the conversation.
Yeah.
And a fundamental understanding of what it is you're actually asking this high net worth individual to invest in.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, that's why also I'm part today of, I'm the shipyard expert for the company, because obviously, shipyards are different. They have different processes, different approaches, different way of presenting.
Yes, they do.
And when you find a client that wants to build their dream boat, their dream, because it's a dream. Come on, let's say it's a dream. You probably are the best place to try to find the right shipyard to the right client. because it's the same. You know, we have a variety of things, but obviously the expectations of the client can be totally different if you go to a shipyard or to another. And this is where it's important to have some people that have been doing this job for many years, because they know the different layers that they can talk through to a client. And,
Right.
And that's why it's important when you get a client, say, okay, what are your expectations, client profiling. Sometimes they have no idea. You know, the client comes and says just, oh, I saw this beautiful boat in the bay when I was on holiday in Cannes, and she was looking beautiful. I want something like that.
Right. Yeah. But they don't know what they don't know yet.
Exactly.
Right.
So
right.
you need to be careful to not, of course, crush down the dream, because
No. You know, keep that dream alive, but
exactly.
could base some reality checks for them so that they understand what they're signing up for, right?
Exactly, and there we go. So you start with, okay, what are your expectations, and you're starting speaking about design and
Right.
budgeting, and
Right. Well, is the boat being used for the family, or do they want to monetize it in the charter? I mean, the two different things.
Yeah.
Sometimes they can be combined, but you know,
Correct.
sometimes it's important to understand the intent, and then you create a better product that way.
correct, yeah, and you can see it immediately. You know, you see the boats that are already built with a different vision, like a commercial boat. I'm going to have my boat for charter. Then the layout is going to have slight tweaks, systems, supplies. That will be slightly different from a fully private boat,
Sure.
where maybe the attention to some other details like artwork, rather than water toys.
That's right, right. Or whether the crew is seen or not seen, or how efficiently the crew can move around the boat,
Correct.
or even accommodations for the crew.
Yeah,
You know,
correct.
how many crew are you going to carry, depending on how the boat's going to be used.
Exactly, yeah. Sometimes this is, in the past was happening more. Now I see that there is more diligence on that. But effectively, in the past, you know, the owner was just building the boat, didn't really look into the crew area and the crew quarter, you know. It was just trusting a bit the process.
Right.
But after it came out that there were not sufficient accommodation for the crew, for the scope of the boat, maybe the boat was turning into a commercial boat, and we needed service. So there were a lot of issues that were coming up later on. And fortunately now also shipyards are approaching the things differently and try really to get the most out of the client's wish at the beginning.
As it should be.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
absolutely. So I find it fascinating. You've come into this industry. You've learned selling really cool, fast, small boats, and you get into the world of underwater lighting and ship construction, and then you are in arguably one of the most well-known and possibly leading-edge companies in the industry, Burgess.
Yes, absolutely.
That's no accident.
Yeah, there's no accident.
And congratulations.
Thank you.
That's an amazing business you're part of. And how did that come about? I'm curious. And your role in the company is pretty phenomenal, I think. Particularly, I have to say it, in a very male-dominated, misogynistic industry. Bravo, darling.
Thank you, Rick.
That's amazing. So let's talk to me. How did this come about? And
Sure.
yeah, I'm
So
curious.
I obviously I always question myself at some point in life. I'm like, am I doing well? Am I doing wrong? I don't know, you know, just, okay, let's face it. Maybe it's time for change. Maybe it's time to evolve. I like really to progress. It's
Good.
what I've been saying. I like to evolve with myself and saying, I'm going to be a better person. I'm going to be a better professional.
Call it reinvention too, right?
So after C-Vision, actually, I was offered a job as a charter manager. So completely different. We
Yeah.
go out, exit the shipyard. We approach again the product under the charter eye and under the owner's eye, because obviously I was representing a fleet of boats by different owners. I initially joined Fraser Yachts as a charter manager.
Okay.
And after I decided that it was time to sail to Burgess. And Burgess obviously hired me as a charter manager. And there I had 3 seasons of managing yachts between 43 and 95 meter. So very different products.
I was going to say that will definitely, that's an education quick.
Very, very. Yeah, it's really on the road, you know, you really get going.
Yep, absolutely.
And it was actually very intense, very interesting. I was saying it's like the year of the dog, you know, 1 year is like 7 years experience.
I get it. No, it's real.
And it was, you know, we have owners that are very involved. So sometimes I had really the contact with the owner. Sometimes was the captain that was an extremely high professional and dealing with all the issues on board with the charter, the operations, the owners. So it was a huge learning curve for me. And it was another perspective to see yachting. Because obviously, you know, now today, in the new construction, in the sale of a boat, I also with the perspective on the charter, on the lifestyles on board, on how you want to live the boat, it's still giving me a further different approach.
Sure would.
So yeah, I did that for 3 seasons, and I was really feeling the call of the sales jungle. Really, I wanted to go back to sales because
you heard the backbeat of those drums saying, "Hey, there's something else over here." Exactly. There's a romantic part of you coming back out again.
And actually, Burgess was expanding the sales department and the brokerage. And what I really owe to them is that they knew my past experience. They knew that I was already with the key in my hand, ready to reopen the gates to the yards. And they said, actually, we need somebody that is putting things together for the sales team. We, as you know, we are employed. So obviously at Burgess, we can have a very, very good homogeneous teamwork.
Good.
Where information are fairly shared. And we said, we need to optimize the process. So if you have one person that approaches the shipyards, make sure that she's on top of what's for offer, for sale, under construction, then it's going to be more efficient for the colleagues because they will have the information at their disposal on the go. So while they're going to talk to a client, in few minutes, they can pull out, you know, a list of data that are very, very interesting and helpful for them to handle eventually an initial conversation. And obviously after, the colleague is taking the helm and having the relationship with the yards and saying, hey, my client is really interested. Can we really talk through a project? So that was the scope of my role. And now it's going to be my 8th year.
8th year. Well, think about that. Goes by. Yeah. And dog years, how much is that?
Yeah, exactly. That was 56.
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
You are ready for retirement. No. So this is, Ellie, I have to ask the question because this is a fascinating piece of the conversation that's been ongoing, and I'm going to use the word that some may think has been overused, and maybe to a certain extent it has, sustainability.
Yeah.
But it is important to start to understand how we as an industry turn a corner and start bringing out product that people really want that can be somewhat justified in the ecological form of this art that we call yachts that are on the water.
Absolutely.
And it's a whole other conversation when we talk about the fleet that exists, but we're still creating new fleet.
Correct.
And what are you hearing? What are you seeing? What's the thought process right now at Burgess when it comes to that conversation, sustainability, and we talk about whether it's propulsion systems, fuel systems, efficiency. What's the hotel load look like on the boat, or what's your role in this, or what are you hearing? What are you feeling?
Well, for this, I'm working together with my other colleagues of the new build sales team. So it's we got Ed Beckett, Sean Bianchi, and Peter Brown. They're part of the team. So Peter Brown is a senior sales broker and partner of the company.
Yep.
Sean is the head of Burgess Technical Services, and Ed is the head of the division, the little new build sales team. So when we approach a client and the client is asking, what can I have in my new projects, then yes, propulsion has been at the core of the latest conversations. And, the hybrid boat, the methanol, the hydrogen.
Yeah.
This has been there has been a lot of buzz around these topics in the industry. And so far, there is a lot of consensus about more looking at now biofuels and methanol as potential solutions. Obviously, we got already some pioneers with fuel cells and hydrogen.
Yeah, Fetcha was talking about their new boat that they've just brought out, fuel cell powering lithium-ion battery electric drive boats. And in my conversation yesterday with Michael Bremen, Lurson's got their own skunk works right now, developing
Correct.
their own fuel cell technology. They've got a client, and this is an interesting piece of it too, maybe you can comment on. They've got a client that is participating with the company that's developing the fuel cells in Lurson. So there's three partners in this essentially. The owner's saying, I'm going to pay extra to bring this fuel cell onto the boat. I think he said it was 1 megawatt fuel cell, it's pretty significant. The shipyard's saying, yeah, we're going to partner, we're going to spend some of our money to co-develop this, and the fuel cell manufacturer's like, yeah, we're in too. So you've got this collaboration. I think that's the only way new technology happens.
Yeah.
What would the role of Burgess be in that? To help these collaborators come together, or counsel their potential owner in the value of potentially making these investments?
Well, yeah, it's obviously seeing the vision of the owner, because if the owner is somebody that wants to pioneer, the process, then obviously we are there to help him.
Right.
And making sure that the partners that are coming together in the venue, so for the propulsion, for the fuel cells, as you made the example on Lurson, then Burgess is going to really places itself in the middle and making sure that, the builder is going to make it happen, and the owner is going to help the builder make it happen, because obviously this is part of his dream. So
that's right.
So this is where we are. We're always in the middle. We are between, the hammer and
Hope you can move quick.
Exactly, we're moving very quick. So
Right.
definitely, but we are in the middle of the process. Obviously, these kind of requests are not common.
No, they wouldn't
Also
be.
have to say.
No, they wouldn't be. But I think the conversation as the conversation becomes more common, and awareness then becomes more common, and it's a cycle.
Yeah, correct. And most of the times is now a big relation that we have with the builder or the designer, because also we don't need to forget that it's material. There are new materials, there are lighter materials, recycled materials, reused materials, and these are all part of the sustainability process. So the designer's role is also the role of trying to go also for more sustainable materials, and this is something that after is reported to the owner, it's welcome. Let's say that it's not an independent initiative. The owner can come with an idea, but sometimes it's up to ourselves as an industry to push the client, saying, "Listen, we have that, and
Right.
So,
well, I would say that in spite of a typical high net worth individual's obvious success to become a high net worth individual, with rare exceptions, stepping into the wonderful world of yachting, most don't know what they don't know.
correct.
They just know they see this beautiful yacht that they've been on board, a friend of theirs or one they've chartered, and they want a similar experience. And it's up for us as an industry then to have their ear to say, okay, and consider this and consider this and consider this.
And it's what's happening. We have more and more clients that are coming with the lifestyle, because it's a new generation. So there is really a pivotal effect at the moment with the millennials kicking in, the Gen Z coming in. And they are young owners that they are starting their career of yacht owners with smaller units, maybe bigger units for a few. And but they come with the idea of what they want to live on board.
Right.
The concept has completely changed. When I started in selling boats in 2005, the request was, I want a boat I can sleep in. Is there enough space to have lunch? Is it performing? I want to go fast. That was a kind of request.
Yeah.
And obviously French Riviera, weekend, so
I think that's what Berthman Goose did, isn't it?
Correct, yeah, exactly. And that was exactly,
I want jets in the back of my boat.
Correct, yeah, or Magnum or Itama, or these kind of boats that were really, really popular at the time.
Right.
And now everything has changed. So the client is coming more informed, because obviously the industry has also given much more information out. The social media also have helped. The industry is also more available to provide information and transparency. And the client comes already with much more information about boats, style. So what they do is really the experience. They're asking you an experience. And they said, also we had the Explorer Summit last week. I want to explore. Why you want to explore?
Right.
Well, I want to explore because I want to go with my friends. I want to go heli skiing. I want to go in the Galapagos. I want to have a boat that can grant me the access to these areas.
There you go.
So with this in mind, then from the idea of how the client wants to live the experience on board, then you start building the boat. So it's a slight different approach from the past.
It's very personal.
Yeah, it's very personal. And but there are also people that are very conscious about the environment and obviously how the boat is going to evolve. So we got more and more builders that have a compliance for charter already in the building process, because they might say this person maybe wants to sell the boat at some point,
That's right.
And as we are going into younger owners, they are more likely to resell this boat. So
Yeah,
we need
the owner cycle gets shorter.
Exactly.
It doesn't mean the owner goes away. It just means that they just can move from that boat to the next one,
another
to the
one,
next
yeah.
one, which is the self-perpetuating part of our industry, which is so cool.
Exactly. So good for me that we got new constructions.
Particularly if you do your work well and you build those relationships and you incorporate that trust part of it, then you have a client forever.
Exactly. And
Right.
it's what I keep saying, successful brokers are brokers that have got repeat clients.
Yes.
The
yes.
repeat client is the sign itself that you are doing your job well and you have the full trust. And it is also funny because we're starting speaking again about trust in the industry. Trust
It's so important.
It is, but it's not taken for granted.
Shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. I tell people, I mentor people coming into this industry. I've been in this industry a very long time. Your reputation is your greatest asset.
Correct.
If you don't understand what your reputation is, then you should probably do a self-check. Because, at the end of the day, for any reinvention, for any ability to grow and to prosper in this industry, I think that's number one. You have to have a strong reputation. That reputation means you are trustworthy, that you understand discretion, you understand how to, work with people, because this is a people business.
Exactly, and that is the core of our business and the business, of the new build and on the sales department. It's very important for us, to make sure that as much as you can, you will grant your client a very good experience, and they will trust you enough to say, I'm gonna give you this boat to sell when I want to change, and I want you to help me in eventually building or choosing another boat, because it doesn't mean that the second boat will be a new build, but maybe just a beautiful brokerage deal, large, but with a nice refit.
There you go. Yeah, that's its own conversation, isn't it?
Exactly.
So, Ellie, I have to bring this in the conversation because you were nominated recently for Women in Yachting Awards that were done, was it yesterday?
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
This was yesterday.
And I would have been there, then I had an interview going at the same time, so we had a conflict, unfortunately. Sorry, Andrea, because I really wanted to be there for you. You did not win the award, but you were a finalist, and you were amongst some wonderful, wonderful other women that were nominated as well.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts about that? I find it lovely that this misogynistic industry is starting to break down a little bit. We're starting to see more and more women, coming not even out of administrative roles. They're coming in C-level roles or in leadership roles, which is brilliant. Your thoughts?
Well, my thought is that we are in a generational shift, and there are some trailblazers, like that was the category where I was finalist. So being part of the trailblazers for me is already flattering enough,
Well, it's special, it is, and you are.
And thank you, Rick. And just the fact of being, when I stepped into the sales role, there weren't a lot of women sales broker in Europe. And in the US, there were already a couple of ladies, but a couple. We're not speaking about,
the
majority.
Out of thousands, I'm part of EBA, and I get the member list, and it's a very male-dominated list.
It's still, still some work to do, but it's coming up, and I'm very happy because I saw literally after COVID, this generational shift that is really happening now. We are speaking about a 4 to 5 years span,
Yep.
where more girls kicked into the role of broker, and we got Rose Daman and Giovanna Vitelli as
Yes.
CEOs of 2 major yachts.
I know. They opened up this whole week at
Exactly.
the opening ceremony Monday morning. I thought that was so inspiring.
Exactly, and that's why I quoted actually their presence at the forum, because this is part of the legacy that we need to leave to the yachting industry, and it doesn't mean that we need to be now 100% women and 0% men, but it's very good that you see that the professionalism doesn't have an option that is male or female. It's you are a professional.
A professional. Let the professionalism bring you to the level that you want to achieve.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Well, we don't have to hide that there are some cultural parts or areas that we're still we're still a bit quite behind.
I know, isn't that something?
I believe, it's a shame, but I believe that this is gonna also change. It's unfortunately a question of timing.
Yeah.
But definitely.
Well, I think you are inspirational in that, both cultural and in your leadership roles and the way you've approached your career path. Maybe it started back when you were looking at the diplomatic roles that you were initially schooled in, and now you are in this wonderful world of yachting and really thriving from what I can see and understand. So, inspire the next generation or two. I think it's really important.
Absolutely, and that's why yesterday I also mentioned in my speech the mentorship.
Yes.
Mentorship for me, it's fundamental. I've seen already some people from the industry that they came from school and say, I want to be salesperson, I want to be that. And I see now that they're rising up, and it's amazing. So, giving mentorship is developing this subtleness aside the technical knowledge.
It absolutely is. It absolutely is. I mentor with YPY, Young Professionals in Yachting.
There we go, yeah.
Yes. And on the record, Chris, I am going to start the OPY organization here pretty soon. It's necessary, right? But no, I'm all about giving back and helping people up. And what's next for you, Ali? What are you going to do?
What I'm going to do? Well, I have a lot of shipyard visits coming up next.
Bravo.
So keeping doing what I do.
Any in the States?
In the States, actually, I will probably come for the Palm Beach Boat Show.
Oh, lovely.
Obviously. I like to keep sometimes a little eye on the big U.S. market. However, we are enlarging our presence over there. Miami office is expanding. We have new offices in New York as well. So, the U.S. team is growing. And when I saw the picture of the team at the Fort Lauderdale Boat Show this year, it's like, oh, wow, it's beautiful, it's fresh, it's
there you go.
young, and it's gonna rock the planet. So
bravo.
There are a lot of motivated people in charter and sales and yacht management. And the U.S. market is big. It still remains the 56% of our clients.
Yeah. So. It's funny because it depends on who you talk to. I was talking to FedShip, and they're saying about 65% of their clients are U.S. Yeah. Hasten says that it's probably closer to 70%. So this is significant, and of course with the recent elections and the change of administration, wherever you lie in the political spectrum, I think it's undeniable that the U.S. economy is going to be picked up, and they say a rising tide floats all ships. I know that when the U.S. economy gets strong, we help the EU economy, and it's why I talk about this collaboration on both sides of the ocean. That's why we're over here. That's why I brought my son with me this year to get his first experience in Europe and to understand that you can't be like this, and it's got to be a collaborative, right?
A collaborative approach, absolutely.
Yep.
I think that the U.S. Clients are looking now at the European yards, but I know that there are some U.S. realities that are still there, and they're gonna probably rise again. I think that flips this year was a bit steady because it was just before the election.
I know. There's a lot of anticipation. What's really going to happen? And so here we are afterwards, and now that indecision is gone, and new decisions can be made. And I think most of those are good economic decisions, which will fuel more investment, more comfort in stretching a little bit, spending a little bit, and and it's going to be fun to see how this industry continues our growth cycle.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Well, obviously, we nobody expects, you know, the spikes of the COVID years.
No, you can't predict that.
But still, you know, the new construction sector is looking very healthy. There are shipyards that still give you a late delivery because they are full with orders.
Yeah.
I think also COVID gave us a new idea of design. A lot of new models came out and a lot of new ideas. And as I said, they're based on what now the client wants to leave on board. Not only, you know, the idea, I got a boat. Sometimes the boat was in the past a status quo. You know, I got the boat and, you know.
Yeah, look at me.
I'm successful. I got a boat.
Right.
But now is, I want to buy this boat because I want to give my time there. Time is luxury. This is really what is now for our clients. Time is luxury.
You can't buy time.
Exactly.
Yeah. So when you've got money to spend, that's the one thing you come to realize, that the one thing you can't purchase is more time. So time becomes a huge commodity of value.
Absolutely. So that's why I think the industry has grown well. We're gonna probably have a good perspective in the next years, and I'm sure that the yards will reinvent a bit themselves.
They have to.
Yeah, with designs and new technologies and innovations.
It's a constant process.
And that's why Metstrade is made for, you know, to show us what's next.
I know. You know, Metstrade has been really, really good to us this year. They've laid out the red carpet for Yachting USA and Yachting International Radio, which we're greatly appreciative. This industry has been amazing. I'm so grateful that this industry has welcomed us so lovingly again this year. And I use that word lovingly because they truly have. The people that I know in this industry have been spectacular. So we are grateful, and I look forward to an opportunity to reconnect with you in the beautiful city of Palm Beach in a few months, where it will be warmer and it will be more sun.
Definitely, I will wear my nice Burgess hat.
Yes, absolutely. And maybe we can continue this conversation after going through the holidays and seeing, you know, what's evolving. Our next stop is going to be in Antigua at the Antigua Charter Yacht Show, where we'll do some live broadcasts and bring more insight into the charter market.
That is going to be very interesting. I think it's going to be a very good Antigua charter show.
The vibe is pretty high, and we're pretty excited about getting down there and seeing what that's all about.
Looking forward to hear your podcast then.
Yeah. Well, Ali, what a delight this has been to be able to sit with you and have this conversation. I thank you very much for the generosity of your time.
Thank you.
And sharing your insights. I think you're an amazing woman in an amazing industry, and I feel just completely blessed that we have you now as one of our esteemed guests on our podcast.
Thank you. As I do, a little heart.
Back at you. I love it. And
thank you.
I look forward to the next opportunity.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you. So I see you in Palm Beach.
Yes, absolutely, darling. We'll be in Palm Beach.
Thank you.
Until the next time,
bye.
I'm out of here.